released video portrays an incident of assault and violence at the hands of police. Viewer discretion is advised.
Listen, Jackson, back the fuck up.
This is Baltimore City Police Officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz. In a newly released video shot in 2016, Ruiz is seen with his knee on the back of an unknown man, with a gun pointed at the man's head. His message was a clear one: concerned onlookers, adhere to my dictates or else. Here, we can hear Ruiz saying to Baltimore residents,
Listen, Jackson, back the fuck up.
It is documented that Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz is a repeat violent offender, even without access to all complaints against Ruiz, undisclosed by BPD Internal Affairs records. 6 cases involving Ruiz are known. This video will briefly highlight 6 total cases beginning in July of 2013. Case 1, Abdul Salam, July 1st, 2013. Here Salam is seen victoriously smiling in celebration after the jury found Ruiz and 2 other cops liable for brutality against him. However, because the trial was civil, not criminal, Ruiz was not fired and he did not go to jail.
Police profiled me. They followed me in the back of my house, harassing me. Police proceeded to violently and hostilely approach my van with me and my son in it. As I announced this was my home, guns drawn. Once they reached my vehicle, they violently pulled me out, ramshacked my vehicle with my 3-year-old son strapped in his car seat, threw me against the gate, slammed me repeatedly, picked me up by my feet, and while I'm upside down, they proceeded to drop me on my head, hog-tie me, and immediately when I fell on my head, Ruiz, in a wrestling type of action, and kind of hit his knee against my neck. I was arrested. I had no idea what I was being arrested for. My son is scarred to this day. He remembers the incident as it happened yesterday. When he talks about it, he always refers to Daddy being on the floor with police yesterday.
Case 2, Darrell Harris, profiled, as seen in this video, July 17th, 2013.
Yeah, I said, what's wrong with it? There's no such thing as improper wear. I know the law. I know the law. I know the law. What's the problem? You giving me a ticket? You need my license registration? To clarify, I use the seatbelt as a reason to clarify. What? Nah. I don't feel safe right now. Do you want me to step out the car? Do you want me to step out the car? I will step out the car. Call the police, man. What are you calling supervisor? I want to do shit. This is getting uploaded to the internet right now. Yeah?
And we are 2 law-abiding citizens that we are getting targeted, and I don't know why.
Just 24 hours later, Bernardes Ruiz played a leading role in the police killing of unarmed Tyrone West. Case number 3, the murder of Tyrone West, July 18th, 2013.
My brother Tyrone West was brutally murdered on July 18th, 2013.
In both of these cases, when you look at the pleadings and the harsh language of these officers that have been quoted to me by reliable witnesses, the N-word.
And Killer Ruiz and Killer Chapman and the rest of those 11 or 15 killers, including David Lewis, took something from my family that they can never give us again. And that was my brother Tyrone West, one unarmed man who was brutally murdered, beat to death in broad daylight.
Mic check, mic check. This is West Wednesday, number 427. We are calling for justice and accountability for the death of Tyrone West and for all victims of police violence. Mic check, mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. Thank you, Brother Ben. We missed you. I hope your vacation was all well. We definitely, truly was missing you. But we were also glad to have Rachel, who was a big help and success while you were gone. So we were still on. So I just wanted to give her a big shout out and you a big shout out, let you know that we truly was missing you. So as you know, guys, y'all just saw the video that we often play too many times, and I hadn't played in a few weeks. I was playing the Ghost of Tyrone, as well as the video song that I had made for him, Cell Blocks for Killer Cops. But nevertheless, that video is real. Like, and I want y'all to do whatever y'all can do, because we need not only my brother Tyrone West's case reopened, it shouldn't have never been closed. Like, these killer cops should have been in cell blocks. And the fact that the reason why we're highlighting Ruiz is because he was on the news last year still brutalizing you know, victim after victim, and we learned that he had, well, this year, but we learned that he had an additional 18 other complaints. And the crazy part is only knew about 6 victims. So if you add the 18 to the 6, and then what about the victims that we don't know, that don't have enough courage to come and speak out against this coward? And the reason why it really makes me so heartbroken is the fact that he's still actively working. They got this maniac being a supervisor. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, they got somebody that can actually, depending on his mood, can take your freaking life like he took my brother's life. And this is what the city of Baltimore does. You know, it's horrible. It's disgusting. And I just want accountability. Like, we shouldn't have had to have my brother's body exhumed from the ground. We had to unearth my brother just to get answers, because the medical examiner's office pretty much lied to get all 17 of the killers off. And even though I always highlight Ruiz, but him and Chapman were the first 2 killer maniacs at my vehicle to come and kill one unarmed man. My brother was unarmed. He was driving, literally, and at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter if he was armed or not. But the fact that he was an unarmed man, and all he was doing was borrowing my vehicle to give a person a ride, and that should not result to him being pepper sprayed, tased, tortured, beat to death in broad daylight. I'm talking about kick, stomp, pepper spray, and if that wasn't enough, they let a 330-pound killer, David Lewis, literally go and sit on my brother's neck until he was dead. Like, tortured, like, and all of the animals are still working. David Killer Lewis, this maniac, he was working for Morgan State University, but now he currently works in Annapolis. Whenever, you know, Annapolis opens for us to testify and stuff like that, we gotta walk past a killer. Like, this is utterly ridiculous. And then, you know, I know that he works at Walmart. I know where you work at, Killer David Lewis. I'll be coming to see you soon to do an active protest day. I'm gonna do one where, as though you're not gonna expect it, the same way I ran you from Morgan State University. My plans are to let Walmart know that they got an off-duty killer, a maniac, and that's my job, and that's my due diligence. I owe that not only to my brother, but I owe that to every constituent in our city, just period, just literally around the world, because people come visit. So this is not, police brutality is not a Baltimore thing. Unfortunately, it's a worldwide thing, and it needs to stop. And last week, one of our special guests was a good friend of mine, Pastor Steve Turner, and pretty much the thing that I love about him, he was very transparent, and he'll be joining us too, because he just hit me up and got the link. So hopefully, if they don't play with his phone in time, he'll be joining us. But the thing that I love about him, he can admit the dirt. Like, he can admit the wrong stuff that he even did, you know, that he had a conscious mind about. You know, as human beings, we all make mistakes, but the thing is, you cannot make a mistake and say, I took somebody's life. Like my sister, Angela, who's been fighting tirelessly, her and her family, for their loved one, Timothy Fleming, who was executed right in his freaking home in front of his children, you know, girlfriend, everybody, like literally, like just murdered. Like really, all he was holding was a knife in his hand. Did that warranted 7 bullets? Did that warranted an execution? Hell no. If they can walk killers away with after murdering people and walk them away, I don't even want to hear that. And I'm still going through what I'm going through with dealing with the loss, the murder, the execution of my cousin Tavon Anderson. Tavon Anderson life mattered. And as quiet as this freaking city want to be, I'm going to keep highlighting my cousin because he was an unarmed man in his vehicle, brutally executed. Brutally executed. And time is flying and things are going by, and yet my family still has no freaking answers, still have no transparency, still have nothing. All we know is that my cousin was murdered on January the 20th on a West Wednesday. He was murdered on a West Wednesday, early morning time. It was 12:16 to be exact, 12:16 in the morning. All he was doing was sitting in his vehicle, waiting on his daughter, and he was actually murdered. So I'm like I said, I don't care who's watching this. I want you to watch, and I want y'all to see my face. And when the time comes, I'm going to give you detail after detail of what happened once we find out. Because guess what? You could try to hide and cover up y'all freaking dirt. This dirty city is so dirty. Just know that whenever I'm able to run my mouth, it's on and popping. I don't give a damn if it takes me 5 years. Y'all can play this dog and pony show with my family for 20 years from now. But the time comes, because I respect my family and their wishes. But this is not my wishes. I would have been through this whole dirty city underneath of the bus. But I'm going to follow my family lead. But I'm letting you know when the time comes and I can talk, trust me, and my family can talk, oh, it's on and popping. I'm going to bring every news media from around the world to let you guys know what y'all did to my family over again. After you already had my beautiful, handsome brother, Tyrone West, murdered, life took senselessly, and we've been fighting 8 years non-stop for accountability. Tavon Anderson was right there with us, but yet you don't do anything to try to tell us nothing or bring us answers or closure. It will never be closure when our loved one is murdered. But I'm letting y'all know when the time is right. So all of them that's watching me and that knows what I'm talking about, you guys don't know, but trust me, when the time is right, there's a time and there's a place for everything. And when the time is right, I'm going to blow it completely up. I'm going to blow it. Y'all already know I don't have no filter. I don't work for nobody. Can't nobody shut my mouth. You know what I'm saying? I'm just following my family lead. But when it's on and popping, I'm telling you, it's going to be on and popping. Because you're not going to get away with this. What it is they're trying to play this dog and pony show. And it's just sad. And I'm wondering, and that makes sense why all the homicides are happening in the city. Because they're playing with families. They're playing with families. And they're leading you down a dead-end road when your loved one was murdered. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I got something coming for y'all. As soon as I can run my mouth, it's on and popping. I'm going to tell y'all detail for detail. I'm going to show y'all some things. Oh, it's on. It's on. Y'all already know. So I'm going to get off that subject before I open my mouth. Let me just move on. But just keep my family in prayer. Please keep my family in prayer, because this is a hard time for us right now. You know, and then they're doing things that are messing with my family members just because they're trying to silence us, right? They always try to play this silencing game. They'll try to even take away somebody's freedom, mess with them to keep them down, just so that way they can free a killer or cover up for a killer. But I got y'all. It's coming. It's on and popping. Y'all picked the wrong family to play these dirty games with. And the fact that it's not just my family that is going through something right now. You're talking about families literally around the world suffering. Like literally, sorry to ramble on, but I'm going to just get it out. We are actually going out of town. Literally, I'm going to be in the middle of the night, early morning time. I'm going to be going, and I'm going to be joining a bunch of families, you know, that have been impacted, completely impacted. Life changed forever. Life changed forever because our loved ones was murdered by law enforcement officers. This is terrible. So You know, I'm gonna try to do as much as I can to have our voices uplifted, but at the same time, I want to try to see if I can get my mind right. But it's hard to get your mind right to enjoy something that could be a possible vacation or a few days to get your mind right when my loved one should be here. And that's all I keep thinking about is my loved one. So, but I want to give a big shout out to Uncle Bobby and my beautiful sister, Auntie B. Pretty much that they does this every year. They literally, it's called Families United for Justice, and they get all the families together, and they do little retreats, and they do little big things so you can come back and fight with. Y'all know I've been in this fight long enough. I don't even need nobody to show me how to fight. Once they put my brother on that pavement, the rage came down of me, the fighting stuff that I didn't even know that I had inside of me. I used to be the quiet one in the back of the room. I used to be the teacher that used to get like break down during graduation time where parent conferences didn't want to speak to my parents because I was so shy. And that's Wanda Jones died on July the 18th, 2013. So this has been the new Miss Jones moving forward. You know, I'm never going to stop fighting for my brother who was murdered. And then the fact that we literally are burying our other loved ones, like, really? We're burying other loved ones that actually was there to bear witness how dirty this damn system was. You know, y'all done had my Uncle Clifton Anderson. And all he was, and I have him on tape, and I'll be sharing that with you guys next week. But it was at a West Wednesday when we were in front of the dirty medical examiner's office, and I looked at this video and it broke me down. And all he said was, God, please, all I pray before they take me, that I see accountability for my nephew Tyrone West. Those are my Uncle dying words, and literally, he's dead. He will never get to see that. Unless he's looking down from the heavenly way, but here on earth, he will never get to see that. My grandmother, which was the elderest person in my family, she only wanted to see accountability for her loved one, but she literally had to leave here a few months ago. No accountability for her first grandchild, and then to have my cousin Tavon Anderson murdered, and we had to tell her this. Do you know how sick that could have possibly made her? We're sick of families. You don't know the impact. And that's the importance of me talking and bringing this special West Wednesday to you guys. And we probably, like I said, we probably had Pastor Steve Turner on. But you guys got to know and realize that this is not a game. Like, the same pain, the same tears that I cried from day one are still here. And I kept on saying back then in 2013, all I wanted was the years to fly by because I didn't want to be stuck in this like dark spot where as though I'm hurting, and you know, I just wanted to just ease up and be able to grieve. I have not grieved yet in 8 years. 8 years. You cannot grieve until you get accountability. That is a part of the grieving process. So a lot of families around the world are stuck in this dark spot. No matter how much we push forward and enjoy life and enjoy the blessings, we are stuck. And the retaliation is real. You don't know what comes with us being the ones advocating for our dead loved ones that were murdered. We didn't ever ask for our loved one. Our loved one wasn't doing anything wrong. They snatched our loved ones. They started a war with my family by snatching my loved ones, and they study doing stuff. They keep doing stuff over and over again. But all that does is let me know how effective we are, and I'm going to keep on fighting. I'm never going to stop. I owe that not only to my brother, children, his beautiful children. I owe that to his beautiful grandchildren. I owe that to my beautiful family. I owe that to all the beautiful families. I owe that to my sister, Angela, who's been fighting. She never asked for this fight that she was forced to, and they still don't have accountability. Like, how is it that her brother was murdered in his house and they still don't have a freaking autopsy? And Marilyn Moses can walk around here and ban certain people from meeting. It's like, this is, oh my God, it's beyond me. But you gotta know how really families can't make this stuff up. And the way the world is nowadays, until your loved one is actually murdered by people that's supposed to serve and protect, and the only thing that they're doing is serving us brutality. They're serving us pain. They're serving us disrespect while they are the ones protected. Let's be crystal clear. They are protected. We aren't. We aren't. We just literally left DC a few months ago, with other coalitions group, and it wasn't no joy there because I left there and I was really agitated. I felt sick. Like I had so many and I thought the year before when we went there, I said, well, maybe I was dehydrated. That's why I had this real bad headache. That's why I had this sickness. No, it was seeing other families and reliving that pain, and there's nothing you could do. Like you could cry, you could yell, you could whatever, but you can never bring your loved one back. And that's sad. And then the saddest part, we can't even save or stop other people's family members from going through this. Why couldn't it stop when they murdered my brother? Why did he have to get murdered? But the fact that brothers and sisters and children are studying getting murdered, the fact that the homicide rate right here in this city is so freaking high, and it's mainly, let's be crystal clear, call a spade a spade. It's mainly African American folks, and they killing our children. Anytime it's a normal thing for every week you're hearing about teenagers getting shot down in the street when they survived or they non-life threatening and some of them died. Like, that is sick, man. That's disgusting. Babies are not even freaking safe. And for nobody to take an active lead on this, but they take active leads on what they want. And I heard something on the news tonight where students must have got into some type of confrontation at a school, a knife, somebody got, I think 2 people got stabbed, but it was non-life, but they blew that thing completely up. You would have thought these children had a gun or all this, and I think they're blowing this up. So you gotta watch how the media does things, and this happened in the county. But the fact that what they're doing is they're trying to set the stage because they want to keep on making these armed killer cops come inside of these schools. Because I'm just wondering if there was a cop inside of this school. I don't know, because I have no details. I just only was heard, and as soon as I heard about children, my heart just like, oh my God. And I was like, first I had to check on my child that's in high school to make sure it wasn't her school. And then when I found out it was in the county, I was like, my heart still went out just being a parent. Having children in school. It's horrible. No parent should have to worry about their child, being stabbed while they're supposed to be learning. But it's just so much going on, and I can go on all night. But I'm just saying also say, don't let the media and people use us for our pain for their game. And that's what they're doing. They're using us. Like, they get all these grants and funds off of our blood. And yet, we are the ones suffering. They don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. They can make whoever they want be safe, and they can make whoever they want be unsafe. Like, they don't care. Like, at the end of the day, it boils down to, and it's sickening to say, it boils down to money. And it revolves around this capitalist system that don't give a damn about nothing. As long as they worry about this dollar, and that's why they put race into it. They make people hate each other from just skin tone. And it's sickening. It's sickening. But I'm just here to say that as I go on this trip tomorrow, and I'm be gone for a few days or what have you, I'm definitely going to be, doing my live videos and things of that nature. But it's just sad, and unfortunately, right now, there's another family, right now as we're speaking, being drawn into a fight that they never asked for. Somebody's being killed right now by law enforcement officers somewhere around this world. Somebody's being murdered right now as we're speaking. And also somebody's being murdered in the city. And guess what? It is tied together, baby. It is not no isolated incident. It is tied together. It is tied together. Legalized genocide, no matter which way you want to break it down, tweak it, whatever, however, it is tied together. But again, I'll just let you guys know that the sister that was supposed to be coming on, I don't know if she's going to be on, but again, Pastor Turner probably will be joining us, and he's an ex-police officer. He used to work for Northern District, and like I said, he was real transparent because he could tell you the things that he did or that he bear witness, and even to this day, and it really messed me up because last week he said something that touched me in all levels. Literally, he's been away from the force, like he said, almost 30 years, but yeah, he just recently, or not too long ago, found like whereas though they had his house tapped, like he found like wires, his phone being tapped, all type of stuff, and just like he said, he might have left the force, but the force didn't leave him. They are a legalized gang. It's almost like when they You know, you cannot get out the gang unless they kill you. You know, it's your blood to get you in, and it's your blood to leave if you want to leave the gang. They are the big. I respect gang members, and I ain't even gonna lie. I got lots of respect for gang members more than I do for law enforcement officers. Cause guess what? They are the ones that's protected. At the end of the day, just think about this. If they were a regular gang just riding around, my brother wouldn't even stop. He would have kept on moving. But the fact that they make you be in a vulnerable position, and you or somebody loved one, like in my brother's case, you know, nobody called law enforcement officers Ruiz, who literally almost killed, on that video, Darrell Harris. 24 hours before, this maniac, he still had to taste the blood. He was not satisfied. He was going to kill and do something to somebody. And then 17 days before, that was Abdul Salam. So this maniac would not stop until he killed my brother. And I'm still wondering, like, literally, he might have killed other people, and they're just not letting us know about it. You know, they're probably just not letting us know about it. And the fact that there were video footage of my brother's horrible, brutal murder, and the fact that the police came around that very next day, and it was Commissioner Batts. I'll never forget, I saw this man standing on the corner with all his police in uniforms, knocking on Kentmore Calway doors and getting their phone videos, getting footage. And to this day, public information at the Public Information Act, we still cannot obtain anything. So that all this stuff to me is a freaking joke. I don't even think when it comes down to, they're saying now that they're doing an active investigation on the medical exam. I think it's all a bunch of bull crap. Until I see something done, I'm not giving nobody no kudos. I'm not giving nobody no goddamn props. I'm not doing none of that. So if they wait for me to just be all happy, I'm not. The day I'll be happy is the day when I see them really do something, and the day when they stop murdering us. That's the day I'll be happy. Until then, they won't get no kudos, no props, no nothing from me, because nobody family should go through this. Like,
that's right.
It's all a big conspiracy, and it's sickening and it's disgusting. And like right now, even in my sister case, like I said, they're waiting. Pretty much they're buying, because to me, justice delayed is justice denied. And that's what they're doing in my brother's case. They're justice delayed. That you pretty much delaying everything, so that way witnesses can die off, they can lose stuff, they can steal stuff. And the fact that they lied and said that everything got really raunchy, in their words, is when they noticed a bulge of drugs in my brother's ankle socks. He had on ankle socks. So that, first of all, they lied. And for them to go for like 2 or 3 years, the justice delayed, justice denied type of thing, pretty much 3 years before the truth even came out through, you know, all the complaints and filings and all that kind of stuff. And we learned that no drugs were, we knew, my family knew, because I knew, for one, my brother would never disrespect. He wasn't even using drugs, selling drugs. We knew that was a lie. I knew my brother like I know myself. But for them to, like, he wouldn't even let nobody come in my vehicle with no drugs. He wouldn't even disrespect me like that. He'd make sure nobody could even drink like beer, anything. They couldn't even have a can of beer coming inside my car. He'd like, look, this is my sister's car. No, you can't come in here like that. So he would check people on top. So I already know all that was a bunch of BS. But I said all that, they just delayed the whole process. They delayed the whole process, and pretty much lied and said that, you know, he had drugs on him. But it took 3 years to find out, oh no, there were never no drugs tested, not submitted, and out Killer Ruiz's mouth, the one that you're watching on this video, when he was sworn in under oath, had to tell the truth in front of a judge at his motion hearing, when they said, hey, Officer Ruiz, where was the drugs, you know, why didn't y'all never submit them or test them? Oh, I don't know, I heard about drugs on the news. Really? And for Marilyn Mosey to know all this, to have all this, and to go by and play this bullcrap game like she give a damn, and you go after Keith Davis Jr. 6, 8, 9, 25 times, and you don't go after none of these damn killers, she need to be ashamed of herself. And it's sad, because I used to have respect for her. And y'all remember when my whole tone, demeanor has changed, because at first, when people used to want me to chase her down, I'm like, nope, I'm not going to chase down a black queen. I'm just, give her a chance, blah, blah, blah. your chances are up, sis. You don't get no chance. The fact that you dogging out my sister Angela right now, as we're actively speaking, you don't get no more chance. The fact that you dug out Keith Davis Jr., and I have much respect for my sister Kelly, you don't get no chance. Like, enough is enough. Like, all your chances are gone. It's all we asking you to do, lady, is do your freaking job. For one, you need to start off by freeing Keith Davis Jr. You need to find out who really killed Kevin Jones, because that family, like my family, needs accountability for Kevin Jones. We need accountability for Tavon Anderson. So what you need to do is make that, do your job. We ain't ask you to do us no favors. We ain't doing none of that. We ask you to do your job. Give my sister and now right now accountability. Give them their autopsy. Right now Zimmerman should be in a cell block. He did a murderous act. Murderers need to be in cell blocks. So I'm gonna stop on that note. We're gonna do a mic check because I'm really freaking pissed. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Someone checking with Marcellus. Do we have any comments or questions?
Yes. So Bill says, here for the most important Wednesday evening activity. Dare to struggle, dare to win. Prosecute and incarcerate killer cops. And Bruce says, good evening all. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Good evening, Bruce. I hear. Is that my sister Nicole?
Yes.
In your phone. How you doing, Queen?
I'm good. Just getting off the work, as you can see. I'm in the truck we riding, but I had to be here at West Wednesday. I didn't care if I was riding or not. I just was going to make sure that I was here this evening.
You know we love you guys, and we always fight for everything. Everything we always fight for the good for doing it. We just fight. We always do. We family. Love you guys so much.
I love you guys too. That's why I try to make it my business to be here as often as I can. Like I said several times, I can't always be here, but when I can, I am. And I'm in full support and full attention. No matter what I'm doing, I'm here. As y'all can see, I'm in the truck leaving work on my way in for the evening. But I still was like, I'm going to be at West Wednesday tonight.
Well, that's good. Thank you so much, Queen. I appreciate you. Is there anything you want to share while you're on? You got the mic, whatever you want to say.
Well, only thing I wanted to share was the simple fact that I definitely feel your pain and what you're going through. And yes, this has got to stop. Why is it that we have to constantly go through this over and over again? And we have people who supposedly have the authority, supposedly have the know-how to stop this instantly. But like I was discussing with my husband a few months ago, and we was talking about, even with the COVID-19 out here, it's population control. They want the rich to stay rich and the poor to stay poor, and whoever else in there that's trying to get their riches, they want them to be out of it altogether. And they're killing us off like this because of the simple fact is that with us together, we are the minority. We are the majority, not the minority. They are the minorities, really, if you do the math. And they can't have this big group of strong individuals, black kings and queens, standing up against them to fight for what we know is right. And it's sad because we are the ones that don't see it. We don't see that we are the ones that actually have all the power. But we allow these people, because we put them in office, we allow them to come in and dictate to us, which the people are the ones who really make the decisions on what goes on in this country. But like I said, we don't see what's right in front of us, that we have the power to change the things that's going on. We have a few hundred here and a few hundred there, but we don't come together in unity as one the way we should. so that we can do something about this, and we can stop this, and we can continue to live and live without fear. That's the biggest issue right there, living without fear. I should not be in a predicament where I'm saying that I don't even want to bring any more kings and queens into this world, because I can't stand the fact that I could go to sleep today and wave my children goodbye to go to school, and they don't come back home. Or my husband leaves out just to go get a carton of milk because we don't have any more to put on our cereal, and a police officer, because he on his period, excuse my French, or he had a bad day with his wife and children, or his sergeant or captain or lieutenant pissed him off, he want to take it out on us. And we end up paying the price of losing our lives because you're having a bad day. And that's not fair to any of us. I don't care if you purple with polka dots. Nobody has the right to take your life, especially when you have done nothing wrong. It's sad, it's sick, it's disgusting, and I am so sick and tired of every week adding another family to this family. I don't want this family like this. I wanted to meet you, and everybody here on the goodness, and then I had to meet my kings and queens on something so tragic and so disgusting that I can't even find the words to describe how I feel about this situation at all. Only thing I can do is pray and try to be strong, and with the little bit of help that I do have, try to stand on my own feet and stay with y'all and make sure I let y'all know that I got your back, because I know you got my back, and we got each other's back. And I didn't mean to take up so much time, but I love y'all, and thank you again, Queen, for always inviting me and allowing me to speak my opinion about what's going on. Mic check?
Mic check.
Mic check.
Queen, you don't have nothing to be sorry for, because you always bring power, everything. So, yeah, you don't have nothing to be sorry for. Take as much time as you need. Like, this our show. Take as much time as you need. Yeah. And I want to give a big shout out while we're here. I want to give a big shout out to our Queen Mara. You know, yesterday, unfortunately, was her ex-husband and children father, Jamal Taylor's 2-year commemoration. So, just praying for her, and she's such a queen. I love meeting people at West Windsor, because I always say, like, normally when people come on, they be like kind of low-key, sweet, you know, this, that, and the third, but she's a ball of fire. That's Miss Fire. That's Miss Fire. I love hearing her speak. I remember when she started out, she was like real quiet, you know, kind of giving the trouble. Now she, woo! Oh my goodness, they ain't ready for her. They not ready. They not ready. Just like with you, Queen. I remember when I first met you, you was like real quiet, low key. They ain't ready for you, Queen. They not. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Alrighty, so yeah, I just got a message sent to me from both Mara. She would have joined us too tonight, but she's in school. She sends her love, as well as Pastor Turner. He will be on soon. He's still like doing this little treatment thing that he normally does on Wednesday, but he'll be joining us towards the end. So, mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
So I wanted to check in. Do anybody on the panel want to say anything, share anything? Mic check.
Mic check.
Alrighty.
Mic.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Mic check.
I can tell a story if you like.
Sure.
This is the way that I came to understand how racism really works and why it exists. When I was going to the community college on Liberty Heights Avenue, I had a part-time job in a factory that was down on Park and Trolley Terrace near Druid Hill Park, and the place was called HB Furniture. and they manufactured these kind of club bars people would put in their basement if they have a fixed up basement, and had lights that would flash to the music and so on. And this job was one of the worst jobs I ever had in my life. And so they were paying at the time minimum wage. It was about $1.60 an hour. This we're talking about back in the day. And they treated people like slaves. If they had you working in one part of the factory and needed you in another part, and it was a big factory, like a block by a block, they would expect you to literally run from one part of the factory to another. They had ventilators to suck out all the sawdust, but none of them worked. And by the end of the day, we'd all be covered in sawdust. We'd have to use the air hoses for the tools to blow the sawdust off before we left. And it's the only job I ever had where it didn't matter what sports season it was. When you went, if there was someone in the bathroom when you went there, the discussion was always, how can we kill the boss? That's how bad the conditions were in this place. And they would expect you to work like lightning. And if you didn't work fast enough, they'd fire you, and they put an ad out for jobs. They'd have 20 people on the sidewalk the next day, and they would keep doing this till they got people willing to work really, really fast, really, really hard. And I ended up getting fired from this place. Now, that same day when they fired me, I got up, I think it was on a forklift. I gave a speech that the workers there needed a union, and the management was wrong. And then I was going to leave. I threw my keys at the boss's feet. And as I was getting ready to leave, one of the workers who'd been there a long time said, look, some of us get together in this lounge after work. Why don't you come and join us? So I did. And when I went there, they told me that 5 years before, they had tried to get a union to fix all the problems. The pay, trying to get paid that wasn't so terribly low, fix the ventilators, make the place more bearable, and so on. And they went on strike for a long time. I think it was 11 months, trying to win the union and win some of those demands. And they couldn't win because they got all the black workers to go on strike, but none of the white workers would join them. And if you want to win a strike, you got to shut the place down tight so they can't make any profit. And they weren't able to do that. So that story really taught me a lesson, because here I was, a white worker, 5 years later, and I had to put up with very difficult and miserable conditions because of the racism of those white workers 5 years earlier who wouldn't join the strike. And I learned from that racism is a trick that the powerful capitalists use to divide us and to conquer us. And it's the same way in which police brutality and police murder work. They terrorize people to try and keep us quiet. Just as on that job, they wanted to divide us, keep us quiet. So I thought, since we had a moment here with guests not having arrived yet, share that story. And I think that's really the root of racism, a trick by the rich business owners to divide and conquer the working class, and we have to overcome that. Mic check.
Mic check.
Yeah.
That was a great story, and I believe that's true. I really do. Yeah. And that's amazing. You was you was living in towns where minimum wages was $1.65. I'm amazed.
That's quite true.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I used to laugh at stories like that. My uncle and them used to tell me stories like that. I'd be like, what? $1.65. That's funny.
My wife just added the gas was 25 cents a gallon.
Oh wow! Oh my goodness! Do you know how much I would fill up right now? I'd be overflowing with gas.
Yep.
25 cents. Wow.
Yeah, Queen, my first job, my minimum wage was $2.50 an hour, and I thought I was doing something.
Who said that? You, Nicole?
Yes.
No.
Yes. $2.50, my first job.
I don't believe you, Queen. I don't.
Yes, indeed, yes.
That's amazing. But I guess we'll be telling these stories years from now, so our kids like, minimum wage is
this was whatever the amount they are now. Not sure, but we'll be like, it was $8.50. They be like, what? $8? That's funny. Wow. So, as we move on, so I don't know who's gonna read the horrible, sad list of the homicides in the city, but I think I saw my brother Brian on, so hopefully it'll be him or somebody. And I don't get any thrill or joy out of reading these lists or having them read here on this platform, but we do it out of respect for the families to let you guys know that they're more than just names. Like, would your loved one, if your loved one name was on this list, they would be more than just a name. So these victims, unfortunately, that we're gonna hear tonight are more than just a name. Just like I always say, we're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter. So just can we take 1 minute before we read the sad list of the homicides right here in our city? Let's just take 1 minute. Just if you pray, say a prayer. If you don't pray, just keep the family in thoughts, and let's just try to figure out like what could we actively do to actually hold people in this city accountable. Like it's out of control. It's beyond out of control. So let's take 1 minute. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
All right, so we're ready for the sad list, and thank you guys for taking a minute. Mic check.
Mic check.
So, yeah, this list I'm gonna read I'm not gonna mention the 6 most recent victims. We don't have names for them. Hopefully we will be able to name them for you next week. So yeah, just as as Twanda said, these are people, these are full human beings with friends, with neighbors, with family, and so we just ask you to lift them up and just just use this. It's horrible, it's sad, but we have to find a way to use this to focus our minds on ending the violence, not only the random violence, but the institutional violence, not just the people who are shot dead, but the people who die because they can't get health care, or the people who die because they're they are driven by sorrow and desperation to drugs or suicide. This is a whole culture of violence, and we need to struggle against that, and we need to remember that that's what we're struggling against. So I'll read off the names, and if you would echo them back to me, that would be the best we can do. Melissa Rogalowski.
Melissa Rogalowski.
Taekwon Watson.
Taekwon Watson.
Kevin Kelly.
Kevin Kelly.
Kevin Kelly.
Donnell Smith.
Donnell Smith.
Donnell Smith.
Latanya Wright.
Latanya Wright.
Deontay Thompson.
Deontay Thompson.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so Uncle Bill's probably get ready to read the horrible, sad police brutality list as well. And again, I ask everybody, let's take a minute to keep the family in thoughts or prayers or both? If not, thank you guys in advance. Let's take 1 minute starting now. Mic check.
Mic check.
Thank y'all so much. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Shall I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
So, in 1 week, starting on the 21st of this month and going through the 27th, which is the date on which the most recent names have been released, the police stole 12 lives that we're aware of around the United States, perhaps more. I'm going to start on the 21st, as I said, and we announced an unidentified person last week on that date, and there may be one other that we announced last week, but I'm not certain, so we'll start with the 21st, including the person who was unannounced at that time, but whose name we now know. So each of these people was killed by the police somewhere in the United States in the recent week. Most recently reported week. First, in Las Vegas, Nevada, on September 21st, 30 years old, and if you can uplift his name after I say it, please, Trent Leach.
Trent
Leach.
Trent Leach.
On the same day, on the 21st, and this is the person who was not identified last week in Henderson, Nevada, 49 years old, Jose Hama.
Jose Hama.
On the 22nd, in Chamblee, Georgia, 40 years old, killed by police, Erlen Paz.
Erlen Paz.
On September 23rd, in Luxahoma, Mississippi, they don't give this gentleman's age, Keith Cole.
Keith Cole.
Killed by police in McKinney, Texas, on September 23rd, 40 years old. This gentleman has not yet been identified. Ashe.
Ashe.
On September 23rd, in Lancaster, California, 34 years old, killed by police, Barry Ross.
Barry Ross.
On September 24th, in Indianapolis, Indiana, a woman whose age is not given here and who is not yet identified, Ashe.
Ashe.
On September 25th, in Huntington Beach, California, 43 years old, Ronnie Garcia.
Ronnie Garcia.
On September 25th, in Delano, California, I should mention that's one of the towns where farm workers live in the San Joaquin Valley who produce 3/4 of the fruits and vegetables for the whole United States. 30 years old, an Hispanic woman, killed by police, Sandra Barajas.
Sandra, I can't pronounce that.
Barajas. All right. I'm sure the family's appreciative. We do the best we can with the pronunciation. On September the 25th, killed in DeKalb County, Georgia, 33 years old, Christian Smith.
Christian Smith.
In Allen, Texas, on September the 27th, a woman whose age is not given and has not yet been identified, Ashe.
Ashe.
And the last person whose life was stolen by police, as of the most recent report, September the 27th, in Auburn, Maine, 36 years old, Joseph Arbor.
Joseph Arbor.
I'm sorry to share such chilling news. We're going to fight for a better world and make this a thing of the past. One day we will win. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
So I see that our guest Pastor Steve Turner is in queue now. But before we go to him, our Royal King, could we check in with Marcellus to see if there's any comments or questions? Mic check.
Mike check.
Mic check. All right, so Hillary says thank you for your words, Nicole, and much respect for Mara too. And AC Britt says here comes the fire. Sending love to Jamal Taylor's kids, Queen Fire. Sending love to Leonard Shan's sister too. Y'all be safe on your trip and get some spiritual uplifting. Sending you all tons of love. Mic check.
Mike check.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you, everybody that commented. And yeah, and I'm glad she uplifted Leonard Shan, and that's my sister's brother. That's Tracy's brother, Leonard Shan. He was actually murdered, and I feel like it was an assassination hit because literally he was at a Starbucks 1 year prior. It was a different Starbucks, but the fact he was at a Starbucks got into a little confrontation with an officer or whatever. He at the time he was unarmed and everything, and the officer wound up stabbing him, literally stabbing him and whatever, and then he wound up pretty much being there because nobody could believe like, oh, an officer's not gonna carry a knife, which is foolishness. They wound up seeing the video of the officer stabbing him and whatnot. And long story short, her brother, wasn't charged with anything or anything, and then turn around a year later at a whole different other Starbucks, and they come and they kill you, and you're holding up, you're holding up your shirt, showing where this officer stabbed, like he knew that they was coming for him. So it's totally different. It's really sad, but no further ado, we're gonna bring on our royal brother, Pastor Steve. Mic check.
Mic check. All right. First, how's everybody doing tonight? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay. I'm trying to drive and do this at the same time, which I'm not supposed to do. But I live on the edge. I spent five years at BCPD, and it literally changed my life. I had worked for the FBI for 7 years prior to going to BCPD, and it was a wild experience, I'll tell you. I had never gotten in trouble before until I joined the police department. Never got accused of a crime until I joined the police department, which is rather weird. I remember actually just dealing with a lot of struggles all around. I think I forgot to put some gas in the car, and the sergeant who I knew in the office was very nice initially, but he was instructed to give me the blues. So when I didn't put gas in the car, he made a spectacle out of me in front of all my squad, and he told me that I would be working foot, and I couldn't drive the car. And then anybody that replaced me, or should I say, gave me a ride. This is around February, and it's very cold on Fremont Avenue. It's called Post 32. Anybody that gave me a ride would be replacing me on foot. So, like human cargo, I had to actually, because some of my squad felt sorry for me, they put me in the back seat on the floor so that I wouldn't freeze my butt off with hypothermia. This is the type of institution that you're dealing with. And so I had to, do it that way. And this went on for a little while. I had days where my sergeant at some point would go in my car, and actually, I don't know what he was doing, and he would just show up and just go, I'm up somewhere else on Fremont Avenue, and I come back to see him actually going through my car. So somebody said, be careful. he could be putting something on you or in your car. And but when I actually figured out what was going on, I asked the lieutenant in the lieutenant's office, why is he doing all this stuff? So I realized that a lieutenant had held a folder up when this new guy began to be sergeant. I said, this guy here you're going to have trouble with. So I'm just saying, when you're getting an idea of the suspiciousness, the nonsense that regular people deal with, you have to deal with it as a police officer who have to kiss the lieutenant's sergeant's butt. I'm not a butt kisser, so I didn't feel like asking him how his wife was and all that nonsense like every other person or who was standing outside do all that. I just want to go to work, do what I need to do, and all that. The police major, I think, or the doctor, I discovered was not real. He's telling me I have a cyst on my knee and all that nonsense. And he tried to get rid of me because when I asked about the reports and all that he was saying that I had mental issues and that there was an inside job where the sergeant showed up at my calls and started making, giving me advice. I just thought he was lonely. So I didn't know that it was I was so much trouble to them that they tried to get me out on something called 66 2/3, where you're considered to be mental. And so once I realized where he was going with it, I said, have you seen my responses to his accusations? He had never looked at it. And so it's called 95. He write off all your stuff out. So when he read it, his name is Baranko, Chief Baranko. When he read it, he said, oh my God, perfect word usage, comprehension and all that. He said, who wrote it for you? So I asked him a question in his office downtown in Central District. I said, are you saying that a black man can't write? So he got red in the face and all that. So he told me I'd go back on the street. I said, well, thank you. I became when I moved from the Northern District, which is basically burglaries and things of this nature, and I went to the Western District, and I've been asking to go that way from the academy, but they would constantly refuse me. One day I came in, they said, get your down to the Western District, because I was just too much trouble in the Northern District, because I didn't tolerate racism. And I remember they were yelling and screaming at one guy, yelling and screaming at a whole squad of guys in Sector 3, and they talked trash to them. Saying we're so stupid, we're so ignorant, blah, 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 blah. And it pissed me off, and I walked out of the unit right to them so he could hear me. I said, why you let the man talk to you like trash? Don't you have any black pride? And so those kind of outbursts, because the Northern is very racist, those kind of outbursts did not do well for me. And so finally one day they just shipped me out. So I went to the Western. I got in trouble there because of the same kind of scenario. The lieutenant called me in the office, and so it was another sergeant. He got my new sergeant from the Western sitting up in the he didn't know why he was there, and it was saying that something I was supposed to have done and all that. And I say, if you had called me and asked me, Lieutenant, what I was doing, I would have told you, because I respect authority. And I'm a man of authority. You have authority, and I have authority. But if you had asked me about it, I would have told you. So he didn't like me sticking up for myself, and he threw me off his shift. So somebody told me, well, you got, I can't say the word, you got gonads of steel to stand up to him like that. I said, well, I'm not a slave. I'm a man. I'm a police officer, and I appreciate that type of respect. So, when you said a word, I'm trying to think. What's this guy? The guy's on this call now. What was your name? It begins with an M.
Marcellus.
Marcellus, that's it. And so Marcellus Ward was a police officer that was actually killed on KGA, which is the radio, because he was doing what the other gentleman who recently got killed. Oh my goodness, she'd been in the news where he was going to the FBI. Same scenario. He was going to the FBI to work, and he was going to testify, actually, about what was going on. This is a pattern, and I can't think of his name, but he was recently killed. Sean Suter.
Yeah.
Okay, same pattern, and I know it's true because they were trying to do the same to me because of all the things that I was doing and trying to train other young police officers. I got in trouble for that because they revealed that they said, "Well, why y'all all maybe 8 officers out in the Western not taking calls?" I say, "Well, we're here out here on Pennsylvania Avenue being trained by Officer Turner," which basically threw me down the stairwell. I figured they didn't know what they were doing. The man comes to the door and needs to know what to do, so they're not being trained. They just leave you to sink or swim. It just don't make no sense. So in the academy they said don't go to Pitcher Street because it's a setup. I mean, because one way in, you've got a lot of vacant houses and all that, and you should never go up here by yourself. Same thing with Suter. Same thing Marcellus Ward. And so it was, and I must say this, that it was a prostitute who I used to deal with. I'll be honest. Who was talking to the wagon man. He said, your boy is gonna be taken out. She says, "What?" "Yeah, we got plans for him." Talking about me. And she came to me and said, "I need you to do something for me." He said, "You got a call on Pitcher Street, don't go." I'm like, "Well, why should I go? It's my job." He said, they plan to bump you off. And so I appreciate it. I thanked her for it. And so at some point I got a call, like she said. And as I am now a pastor, so I preached about this actually, that some calls you can't take. So I sat in my car and faked out like I was busy, and so they didn't get me that way. However, they have tried to mess up my life for over 30 some years, from finding bugs in my apartment, having fake Comcast people stand outside or parked on my parking lot and lying to me about where they come for, having being followed in the street by SUVs, trying to duck them out, and they trying to chase me down. I think I'm just saying that because I went and testified in court, I had a subpoena, and I didn't know what it was all about. I was trying to help out another police officer too, a white police officer, and so because I had dreams of doing undercover work, and so I went out to help him out, and so I found out that because I was moved from Northern District to the Western District like super fast, and so when I went out to try to help him out, I overheard them talking about this guy who was wanted on a warrant, and back in those days they didn't have pictures of the folks, so I figured that since I'm in the family of Western District, that's what I was trained to do. Talked about it in the academy and all that, and so I went to help this dude out, and I was dressed in a troop jacket. That's how far back I'm talking about, and jeans and tennis shoes, trying to look smooth and silky, and so I went, and so I helped him out, and so I asked him, because I don't think I was single. How will we know? How will I know that we got the same, the right address? He said, 3 girls sitting on the step. I'm like, okay, are they fine? He said, listen, just being true. So I got out there, and he dropped me off in his car. I walked out, I let him drive my past, and I took some time, faking like I was a street thug. It was really not hard to do. And so I went, and I remember this big dude was standing at the window. I mean, outside. Huge fella. And so I went, tried to talk to them. They didn't want to respond to me. I talked to this guy. He said, what you want with my cousin? So I was doing a lot of, street talk. Yeah, what's up, yo? Blah, 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 blah. And so eventually, to make a long story short, the man appeared in the window. Years later, I got a subpoena, and I kept wondering what it was all about. And so, make a long story short, is that I was being the attorney for the family because the guy was being charged with triple homicide. And so he basically, I didn't remember it, so I was trying to get out of it because it was like a year ago. And so the attorney, when I finally talked to him on the phone, told me, if you don't do and come to him for subpoena, I'll subpoena you, I'll body attach you, and I'll do, if anybody stops me from doing it, I will limit you from coming out here. I will go as far as the commissioner. So I was like, get out of my, okay, I'm in trouble some kind of way. So they tried to get me to stop witnessing because it was for the defense. So one of the administrative lieutenants called me in the office and told me, you were out sick, because I was actually on a sick leave once I finally got involved with this situation. And so I kind of thought you could place yourself on duty. That's what they told me.
Oh, you're looking into the wrong spot.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm somebody.
Okay, no problem. And so, make a long story short, is that I was subpoenaed in court to testify for the defense, which I did not know was the kiss of death for any law enforcement officer. So when I got there, the state's attorney was, assistant state's attorney. No, I'm sorry, state's attorney was very hostile. The jury trial, and so she said, "Well, you're coming in here. I had a cane because I had a line of duty injury." He said, "So are you actually feeling bad today?" I said, "I have good days, and I have bad days." And so, I mean, what's the point? So, I mean, why are you trying to harass me? So, she would talk about my record, that I had some issues on my record. I said, "What am I had down here for that?" Because I wrote responses to all that. And so, did you read any of them before you started trying to embarrass me, publicly? So, I guess I was considered to be a hostile witness. She said, the man that you're talking about, that you say did not commit these murders, was a triple homicide, is what he was accused of. That you were scared of him, you were afraid, and he threatened you. I said, "Ma'am, I think right now I've had about 35 death threats, and I eat them for breakfast. What's up? What are we talking about?" Okay, the jury seemed to be getting kind of interested, and so make this even shorter, is that the jury believed me, didn't believe the 12 homicide detectives, didn't believe the state's attorney, and they found him not guilty on all 3 charges. And so I figured my work was over, it's done, I told the truth, blah, blah, blah. While I was in the hallway, standing by next to another police officer that got me involved with all this, he didn't know me. She said, well, she came out in the hallway and said, "I hope you got a good lawyer." I said, "What do I need a lawyer for?" She said, "Because you're being charged with perjury." And I'm thinking, like, what in the world? I ain't never been in trouble in my life. Me told me I had to come here, be in trouble. And they tried to put me in jail, but God kept me. I spent so much money trying to do, what do you call those things? About $250, I remember. Oh my God, my brain's not working. Were you doing what Steve Ricco does? Huh?
You talking about appeals?
No, well, I went through all that, but I'm talking about the machine, the lie detector test. And so the lie detector test came back that I was telling the truth, but they still wanted me. That didn't stop it. And they put me actually in Central District. They harassed me there. They threw brooms up in the air to tell me to sweep up and clean up. In the closet, there was folded, clothes were folded, uniforms neatly, and me and another guy was sitting there, and we came in the next day, and they had ransacked the whole thing and told us, clean up, put it back together. It was mental torture. Taking you to right down the hall. I was situated right down the hall from the Western District to IID, where they anything I did, they would make a spectacle out of it, and in front of other police officers. And the secretary would say, "How you feel snatching out a police officer?" I'm still getting paid, but that was their turmoil to try to pull things and to embarrass you. And I remember I think Barry Powell was a major. I went to meet him because I was a part of the Vanguards, another club organization like the FOP, only that's for black officers. But I paid my dues. He was so scared and said I was too hot that he met me in the garage by himself and was trying to tell me, basically, you don't have a prayer. When I sat at the courthouse, circuit court, they would sit there reading my Bible because, trying to keep some encouragement. And the 12 detectives would come by. You reading that? Blank, blank, blank. Your A is going to jail. And they gave me Judge Priebus. Well, first they had Judge Daniels, the guy who's a city solicitor now, and he was trying to get Billy Murphy, my lawyer, my last lawyer, to try to put me. Basically, he was wanted to say that we're going to have to move this case up. He was trying to move the docket up. Billy Murphy said, "Well, I'm not ready today." And he said, "Well, that's your problem. We're going to go to trial today." And Billy Murphy got beside himself, so much so I was scared that he would get locked up. So I grabbed his coattail. I said, "Sir, if you get locked up, what hope do I have? Because they're trying to put me in jail for 10 years. And so a cop going to jail is like a death sentence." So he kicked him out. He said, "Get out of my courtroom." He sent me to Judge Priebus. And Judge Priebus, I used to sit in this courtroom for other cases, and I marveled at this information. But Judge Priebus, if he finished talking for about 25, 30 minutes, he would always say, "But you should have known this, and you're going to jail." He would always put people in jail. So I'm thinking, like, good God, am I going to have to deal with Judge Priebus? I really don't want to be bothered. So his docket wasn't open for a whole year. And I wish I had a video camera, because they didn't have them back in those days, where they actually had the detectives just throw their stuff down on the bench, cussing and swearing because they couldn't get me for a whole year. So I could go on with this nonsense continuously, but I'm just saying that if they do this to one of their own, especially black officers, I've heard and I've seen a woman, a police officer who was very shapely. I've seen it with my own eyes. The lieutenant screwed up underneath her while she's bending over trying to get paperwork and pulled her down on his manhood and try to, get some excitement while she's trying to do it. She sued his butt, and that's how they still kept her job. But this kind of nonsense, from brutality to sex to sexual harassment, is what they do. I don't know if can you handle it more. Are you okay?
No, I'm good.
You want some more?
Sure, and I definitely appreciate you sharing all the stuff, like, because people really need to know how dirty, like, all little dirty secrets, like, so I definitely appreciate you. And then I also appreciate you bringing up Detective Sean Cedar, that would see me, in my opinion, was murdered.
Absolutely. I went down to the place where where he was murdered, because ICE worked at it. And so it's the same reverse street as Pitcher Street. So I went to the spot where he was killed, and I realized that it should have been me. It was a cold place, empty. There's 5 ways to get out. I heard the commissioner was up there handing out stuff by, I think his name is BM, the journalist that goes right to the scene. And they took the film out of the cameras that was on the store on both sides. That his partner, that was normally his partner, was replaced by the commissioner's one of the commissioner's friends, and he was hiding behind a car, as one woman said, as instead of standing right beside his partner for the day. So it was a setup, the word get up. And they actually they instead of calling KGA, they put him in a car. It was like the Keystone Cops. And what you gonna put him in the car for? Instead of calling the ambulance, and you basically got into an accident. And so that's not. I wasn't reported, and it was either. And so yeah, so they all orchestrated that scenario to make sure they probably someone said might have killed him in the car.
Oh yeah.
Because his story.
And then the fact that they tried to blame somebody in the community, they thought people like in the community was going to take their little ransom money. That was like the highest ransom money amount to solve something real quick, all that money. Like they thought somebody was going to take the bait and frame somebody. And I'm so glad that people were like, no. I'm so glad that people are like, no. But then I don't know if you know that the person that was investigating Detective Cedar, do you know they wound up finding him dead? It was somebody that was pretty much
what?
Yeah, they found him dead a year later after because he was going to tell the truth about Detective Cedar, and they said that he killed himself. They said they found him, and I believe his wife did, and they said it was like Hollywood made stuff up. But they literally said,
God.
He killed himself and his wife. It was a double suicide. This man, like the same way they said Detective Cedar killed himself, like, yeah, you cannot make this stuff up. Like, you cannot. The dirt is real.
That's it. May I intervene 1 second just to say this one thing to you, sir? It should not have been you. It should not even have been him. Everything happens for a reason, and you were supposed to be here tonight. And you were supposed to tell your testimony about what you knew and what was going on. And I thank God that you are here and you are healthy and you're strong. And I love you. And you are a king.
I thank you. I bought this for myself after I was hospitalized for, as one doctor said, COVID-19. And also double pneumonia and the flu in February of 2020, when I was on ICU for 10 days. The doctors gave me up. My wife prayed for me, as well as some other people, and God has given me another chance. So I figured, since I've been at death's door so many times, what am I afraid of now?
Exactly. Amen.
Let it drop. The man who, Catherine Pugh, actually had to spearhead the investigation of Detective Sean Suter. Actually was I had this lady on my program. He had did a home invasion of this woman, falsely arrested her husband, and I tried to help her out, and I called the bureau because I thought it was such a grave injustice to try to get some help, and they started asking me questions. I was like, oh Lord, what have I done now? You used to work here? Well, what kind of program you guys? Elevation Radio 1. And they wanted to know all the information, so I realized that I'm being monitored, and it ignited them all over again. So they work hand in hand, and so so I so I have to deal with all that, and with the wiretapping, and it's just something that goes on when you're being, like I said, targeted. So then I've had Tawanda Jones on my program, which of course, weird things happen. We tried to do one program and she was on the phone, but she couldn't hear me. I've had other cases where now it gets to the place where the ink in my computer, I guess it was, or it just fades out and I can't see stuff. You know, whatever technical issues come about because you got to deal with all the we call them alphabet soup. NSA, ATF. I mean, the list is rather endless. So I'm just saying that this is a deadly situation. And I was actually talking to Tracy Shan when she warned me. She felt, you know, like she had to take some minutes to get herself together. She said, "You be careful." And my wife used to ask me, why you come out to your car and look underneath the car and don't just get in and start it? I said, because I have to deal with the reality of my world, and that is bombs and you know, tire slash like my sister here. And I you know, when I was helping you out at the Johns Hopkins, and I asked you, "Are you sure you're okay?" I said, "Yeah." And I saw people start running. I went down to Art Michigan Tribe where I used to work at, and I you know, followed the guys, found the white dudes, running, and I pulled up and started talking to them because they were saying that that your people attacked them. And I got out with a bunch of police officers. And I'm like, nah, they didn't attack them. I said, they were attacked. But who are you? I'm an ex-cop. I used to work at this post 15. And so I stopped them in their tracks from getting away with and having y'all arrested.
And thank you. I don't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to thank you. And I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot you were there. And in case people don't know what we're talking about, this was our 300 West Lansing, and we pretty much got together with the John Hopkins setting, and it was real powerful. We had over like 2,000 people on Greenmount. We marched, but the funny part about it was I was threatened. Like, out of everybody that was, you know, going down there, showing support, bringing them food, and just showing support. Literally, the school principal, Ronnie D, he pretty much got in contact with my attorney and actually sent the threat. I took it as a threat. He told my attorney, like, he literally called my attorney and said, "Look, I want you to give this message to Tawanda Jones. Let her know, do not come back on the grounds of Hopkins, because we will pretty much charge her with whatever, trespassing or whatever." And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So that made me, I'm like, look, I'm sitting up here fighting with the mayor, the medical examiner's office, these dirty cops. Ronnie D, who the hell are you? That made me really wanted to go. So I'm like, I'm definitely, truly going. And I went. And they had it set up. And the crazy part about it, and I thank goodness too for Uncle Bill, because that night, me being like, it was so powerful, and me not thinking, I was just being like so overjoyed that everything went so well, and it was so powerful that I'm ready to walk myself back to my car by myself. And I'm like, all right, guys, good night. And I'll never forget where I was parked. It was like dark, secluded. It was crazy. And I can't believe I was going to walk myself back to my car. But I remember Uncle Bill saying, you know what, hey, would some of you guys like to walk Tawanda down her car and make sure she's safe? And I'm thinking, like, why? And I'm in my mind like, okay. And sure enough, that white guy you're talking about, and his teenage son, waiting 50 feet literally by my car to make racist threats as I'm walking towards my car. And the thing was, he was targeting me, and then pretty much he swung on two queens, like it got physical and everything. And it was just crazy. Facebook cut my live. It was crazy. So yeah, I thank God that you were there. And the crazy part, they didn't know you were going to be there. So by the time, the funny part, you remember when we were walking up to the hill, we saw a city cop car pull up, and then remember he busted U-turn, like, oh snap, let me go put them on point. That there's a crowd walking with her. So they were setting me up, and who knows, I might have been Detective Cedar. They might have did something to me. Who knows what they was going to do, but again, the devil is a liar. Mic check.
Mike check.
Okay. And
Yeah,
Pastor Turner,
the time say, oh, I'm sorry, what you say, Uncle Bill?
I was just going to say, this is Uncle Bill, and I wanted to thank you, Pastor Turner. I didn't realize you were there either. But thanks for your role in that evening.
Yes, sir. Anybody there was going to be probably going to be arrested. I had to tell my wife that I'm going up here with my sister, Tawana Jones, always get me in trouble. And
You say that night, Fancy, you say that if they wouldn't have had you right there, who knows what they was going to say. And then the way you act, like you really ran down there, you would put boots on the ground and everything. The crazy part, like, the funny part about all this, they don't know I'm connected, like my brother Tyrone West said. He says, sis, you're connected to the whole world. I don't know how, like, you know every mechanic in the city, you know this, you know that. So I just thank God that I knew all you wonderful kings and queens, and I thank God that you always come for the call, and they don't know who's watching. Just like that time when they sent Chapman down in Greenmount. Chapman was one of the ones who murdered my brother, and literally, that's not his district, that's not his sector. Greenmount 33rd belongs to Northern District. He's from Northeast District. I know because I used to deal with a police officer. So I know sectors, I know all that. I know their language when they call it, or when they make their little calls and their codes. We got a Charlie this and a Charles that. I know all that foolishness. So anyway, moving right on, pretty much they sent the killer there to torment me. It was horrible, it was disgusting, and I went off, like, but I kept it cool, you know, I kept it cool, and long story short, thank God for people I know, because shout out to Boom 300 Gangsters, because and Shorty, they came down with me the next week to stand outside for West Wednesday, and we ain't see no police officer in sight, we ain't see no ambulance in sight. It was quiet for a whole 2.5 hours. We like, are you kidding me? So that's love. That's what people do, and that's why I figure like this. If we can work it like that to keep each other safe or to put these animals out there, we need to keep on doing it. We need to really work together to try to stop these homicides in the city, because I really feel like at this point they're purging, because kids are not safe, like nobody's safe. Like I know some of this stuff is beef or whatever people can, but half of this stuff is not us. They protect all the people that they want to. As soon as a black person kills somebody, you see their face 24 hours on the news. But as soon as somebody Caucasian, they won't even show you their face. So we on y'all, we're going to keep on fighting. But I want to check in just for time's sake, because I respect everybody's time. And this has been real hot. And you brought the fire, Pastor Steve. You really brought the fire. We love you for that.
Yes, you did.
I want to check in real quick to see if we have any comments or questions online before we get ready to wrap up. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mike check.
AC says, isn't it true that the FOP excludes Black and Latino officers from their protection and ranks? That's what we've always suspected.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Most definitely.
AC also says, that's what we've always suspected, but it's freaking horrible. They use the media as a tool for their false narratives, and that is just sick. The games they play. AC also says internal affairs and everyone that's supposed to investigate dirty cops are all in on the corruption. This whole system is sick. The wealthy and powerful think they can do whatever they want to terrorize people. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mike check.
Yes, and that is the truth. And Pastor Steve, I just want to again thank you tonight for always being true and powerful. And God knew that He had a plan for you. Like He took you to the pits of hell, and that was the Baltimore City Police Department, and brought you right back where He wanted you to be at. You know, and it just broke my heart when you were saying, that's why shout out to my sister Nicole, who pretty much said that thank God that that wasn't you, you know, that you were supposed to be here with us, and we just gonna keep fighting this thing together. You know I got your back, so if anything gets fun. Oh yeah, and I wanna let y'all know how dirty they are real quick. Now, all this time, me and Pastor Steve been friends on Facebook, this, that, and the third, because last week I sent him the link through his inbox on Facebook again, and today I was like, let me send him, you know, the link again. We wasn't friends. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I didn't see the message, like they erased all of our inbox messages, like he would send me stuff from the church, all of the messages are completely gone. I was like, I was like, woman, why can't I send? It was almost as if Pastor Steve blocked me. In some type of way I was able to get through, and I sent them a friend request, and then that allowed me to send a message and for them to approve it. But I'm like, what's going on? We ain't friends. So yeah, they play well.
I thought I was in trouble with him. I got scared.
Facebook names. Like we've been friends for years, and then as soon as I bring on West Wednesday, they cut it off. They cut the connection. But guess what? You can never. I don't care what they do with this Facebook, any of this, internet, or I call it Cinenet. This Cinenet.
Yeah.
They not gonna stop us as a family. They can block all our pages, they can do all that, but they will never stop the love. They will never stop the fight. They will never stop anything. And I just want to let you guys know, each and every last one of you, Pastor Steve, from the bottom of my heart, I love you. I love you, my Queen Nicole. I love you. And
I love
you, Ben, Uncle Bill, Hillary, Adina, just everybody. I love you guys, and we will win. Until we win, we're gonna keep on fighting this thing.
Yes, we are.
It's coming. We don't know when, but we're getting this close to it. It's definitely we can just look past the dog and pony show. We're gonna win it. We're gonna win. We're definitely win. We winning now because they're intimidated. They keep trying to intimidate tactics. Just like I was saying last time. Thank God that night I decided to give my queen and her husband a ride. Even though I was not going over that way at all. I was going totally opposite. But I'm like, I'm going that way. If they need a ride, I'm not, because I know they would do the same thing for me. You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah, y'all can come with me. And sure enough, they walked me to my car and they got me. They stabbed up my tire. My husband looked down and said, oh my God, they really hate you. They really put a big cut on me, a big cut, a nasty cut. But y'all can cut up tires, y'all can do whatever, but y'all will not cut this fight off. You hear me? We're going to keep on fighting until we win. Just like Mass Action says, until we win, we're going to keep on fighting. Just like my sister Tom Robinson says, every case matters, not just the cases that you hear on the news. We're here for Lottie, Dottie, and everybody. Just like Dr. Ishtam Robinson says, every case matters. And we're going to keep fighting until we win. We're going to keep on fighting until everybody is safe on the streets, so everybody can feel what freedom looks like, feel what accountability looks like, just feel everything that we're all supposed to have in life. And it shouldn't be our loved ones getting murdered and nobody get accountable. You know, held accountable. It should be transparency. It should be all this. But just like Adina said, the media is the puppets for the police department, and it's sad and it's sick. It's disgusting to me. But you do have good media out there, so you know, I shout out to the ones that really cover. But if you're covering up for the police, shame on you. If you ain't cahoots with all the foolishness, you too will have your day. You too will have your day. So again, I want to give a big shout out to everybody, and I'm wishing us all safe travel mercies tomorrow as we go. And I'm so happy that I was able to get in contact with so many Baltimore families. I'm excited, even though I'm not excited that our loved ones was murdered, but I'm excited for the first time in years, so many Baltimore families will be going on this very powerful trip that we will be going on in the early wee hours of the night. We will all be going there. So I'm just so happy that so many Baltimore families were able to. When I sent that invitation that Uncle Bobby sent me, I'm like, y'all hop on it. You guys hopped on it. So I will see you guys at the airport in the AM.
Yep.
Live to love to live. I love you all. And as my brother Ben brought us in with the video, he brought us in with a video. And a big shout out to Pastor, that's Mr. Fire. Mr. Fire, Pastor Turner. God bless his heart, God bless his life, just bless his life. Keep on, we got, like, God is so good. I'm just so glad that I met him. And I met him many years ago because I was actually on one of his shows. I was actually on one of his shows, and we met in somebody's street. Where did we meet at, Pastor Steve, real quick? It was a radio station.
It may have been, but I thought we were on the same committee downtown at a for what was it called on West Bay Street or something like that. We were on the committee.
I think it was somebody. I want to say it was Wayne and them, they were giving me an interview, and I think you were there, but I know I met you somewhere. I'm just so glad that I met you many years ago. We've been friends ever since, and I just thank you, and I thank each and every last one of you. Just remember, there's a reason. Unfortunately, our pain has a purpose. You know, we don't know what life is going to bring to us. One minute it may feel like you're on top of the world, and then the next minute you may feel like the world is on top of you, but you just got to push through, keep it moving, and we will win. Like, we will win. Like, every day is a challenge, but make every day the best day. No, I'm sorry. Somebody want to say something? Oh, sorry. I thought I heard something, but nevertheless, make each and every day count, because remember, this is a day that we have never seen. This is a day that we will never ever see again. So please make every day a great one, a good one, because every day is a blessing. Even though we go through sadness in life, let us not let the sadness take over our life. Let us enjoy the beauties, the wonders of the family members and friends that we still have, that's living, that's right here with us. Let us not neglect them for 1 second just because we're caught up and entangled in something we never asked to be in. Just keep giving back. And I'm so glad that I got my voice back. It's not 100%, but it's so funny. I got a funny story to tell you before we wrap up and go to this video. But yesterday, like, by the time I got home, I sound like a straight man. I sound like Bernie. And I went to go answer my phone. It was so funny. So I went to go answer my phone, and like my phone will tell me like it might be a scam call, and like highly likely to be a scam call. So I see that message. So I'm like, okay, let me answer it anyway. So I go, hello. So it was a funny guy. He was like, hello, sir. Hello, sir. This is DJ. I hung up and I started cracking. That's what made me put that message on Facebook. I'm like, yo, I sound like a man. He was like, sir, I never got called a sir over the phone. That was so funny. I cracked up and laughed. I was like, oh my God. But I'm glad one of my friends gave me a tip on what to do, and I used his advice, and I hear my voice is coming back. So again, live to love, love to live. I love you all. And like I was saying, my brother Ben brought us in with the video of Killer Ruiz doing what he did, and that's brutalizing. What are we going to do? What we're seeing, we need to get on top of Marilyn Mosley and tell her, demand that not only that she reopens Tyrone West's case, that she give Timothy Fleming's family healing and closure. They need their autopsy report, and they need Zimmerman in the cell block, and I need every last person that put a hand on my brother in a cell block. I need everybody that killed Anthony Anderson in a cell block. I still need my daughter. I still need my friend's daughter, K-Saw, because you guys played on a minor. You played on a minor. Her mother wasn't around, and you took this beautiful little baby girl into your care, and because of you, she was murdered. And you leaving her mother here to fight, and with all this sorrow and pain, shame on y'all. We need accountability for her, baby. You need to find out who did it. We need answers, and we're not going to stop until killer cops are in cell blocks. We're not stopping until killers are in cell blocks. So if you want to play God and take a life, guess what? You deserve a cell block.
Yes. Mic check.
Mic check.
You ready for the video? Thank you, guys. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
And Mr. West begging for his life, and Mr. Salam begging for his child to be excluded and comforted from what was taking place. Not for himself, but for his 3-year-old child.
Case number 4, Adina Britt and family, September 10th, 2015.
My name is Adina Britt, and I wanted to submit a 30-second testimonial that Jorge Omar Bernardez Ruiz is one of the 11 terrorists that came into my house performing a home invasion in September 2015, terrorizing my entire family and even holding my 12-year-old son at gunpoint. He needs to be stopped.
Case number 5, unidentified arrestee, assaulted in 2016.
I suggest you back the fuck up.
Again, this video did not surface until the summer of 2020. Case 6, Thomas McCullough, May 2016 and February 2017.
I heard my front door coming off the hinges like exploded.
Thomas McCullough says it happened twice. In May 2016 and February 2017, Baltimore City Police burst through his green front door and raided his Pimlico home.
They said police. They come up, shotguns, guns.
He says officers ransacked the place, looking for drugs, money, and weapons. He took pictures of the damage he says they left behind.
Tell us where the drugs are, the scales, the guns, and the large amounts of money.
Nothing was found. Now he's suing police, claiming officers, including a former member of the Gun Trace Task Force, frightened him, his wife, and father-in-law when the officers conducted what his suit calls an illegal search of his home. The owner of the house tells 11 News after the second raid, he had to replace the front door. McCullough and his attorney say they want Baltimore police held accountable.
There is a colossal breach of trust.
And McCullough tells us following both raids, no one was arrested or charged.
This all begs the question, when will Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby see the prosecution of Bernardez Ruiz as warranted?
They were the stopping officers in these so-called jump-out cars, unmarked and so forth, that stopped both the West vehicle and the Salam vehicle without probable cause. And these officers are the ones that also were joined by others, but they are the ones who initiated the stops, pulled both men out of the vehicles, and commenced the vicious activity that was thrust upon them.
And the officer Ruiz that started this attack is still working and working with promotions. He is now sergeant. But the fact that this repeat violent offender had a history leading up to my brother. There was Darrell Harris, there was James Green, Joseph Green, Abdul Salam, and my sister Dina and her family. No one family deserves to be brutally murdered or brutalized by this repeat violent offender Ruiz. It is time we take action. The time is now.
Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. Based on these accounts, in accordance with the law, we, the West Coalition, call for him to be fired, prosecuted, and incarcerated.
We're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter.
For the safety of our city, the prevention of further harm, and the justice for these families, we see no other option.
And again, I'll say, the time is now.